Trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Well, it looks like we've come all the way back. So I was really hoping that we would open up relatively high compared to yesterday so that we could short this mother, but too late. Too late. Here's our charts so we can see. Look at that nice little top there in a ZN. I mean, this has really been wave. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. And the spread came back up quite a bit too, although you notice that there is some, they kind of want to flatten a little bit. Where's the F? There's the F. And then I've got over here, I've got 2s and 10s. There's 2s and 10s. So 2s and 10s actually flattened quite a bit through this, but I don't think they did not quite make it to inverted. So yeah, but it's really interesting to me that it's flattening on the short end and it's steepening on the long end. That is not, yeah. This the whole thing on the yield curve is way more complicated than it appears just from, news articles. In the E-mini, where are we compared to? Okay, so we've got this really significant resistance at 28.28. So if they decide to buy through this, it could be super positive. But, well, it's a Tuesday. I wouldn't be expecting anything huge. We're actually absorbing quite a bit on the offer, too. Well, that's interesting. That is not quite what I expect. I need to move my monitor up a little bit. I'm sitting higher than I normally do. And so I think right there would be fine. Okay. There, that's good. I just adjusted my seat one step forward because I found that I was really leaning in. And so I just I'll just sit up more straight. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, I didn't post the links. It's usually the first thing I do. Well, watch the CP close a whole handle higher today. I don't know. I really think that thing was overdone. I really think that whole thing was overdone. So there's that. Don't need that. And then we'll pull up Chrome and pull up Journalytics. Yeah. Pull this one out. What do we got? Not advocating the final conclusion here, but a good description of what tomorrow might be like in Parliament. Parliament walks into a bar and orders a gin and tonic, simple A, but there are 5 types of gin and 3 tonics with options for ice, lemon, lime added or not. Thus, that there are about 120 options. Parliament is now bamboozled before it has a sip. Best to revoke G&T with a malt. I see what they're saying. They're saying that because there are so many opportunities to change, what the final result is, yeah. Yeah. This always happens, like when I go to caucus meetings. local caucus stuff. Oh my gosh. Like they change it and then like it doesn't end up passing and so much nonsense. I remember last meeting, there was a thing they wanted to make it so that you had to, if you wanted to run for a party office, you had to, sign in writing before, and they were like, well, can you do it with email? Can you do it by mail? And they had all these arguments about all this stuff, and then it didn't end up passing. It was ridiculous. Well, they are going up, but that was already overdone. Yep. Cool. We do have some news today, don't we? We've got building permits, housing starts, and then at 7 o'clock, HPI and S&P composite HPI. So a lot of housing numbers today. Well, gee, that sure came back right off the open. But, I just don't want to be involved in this. There we go. There we go. Okay, so they went and kissed the VWAP, and it's already coming back kind of strong. I don't want to take a trade ahead of the news, though. What's the big number we're expecting is building permits 1.32 and housing starts 1.22. A little quieter today. I've been looking through my stats, and surprisingly enough, there is a little bit less activity. Okay, 1 minute warning. A little bit less activity on Tuesdays and Thursdays compared to Wednesdays. I don't know what the deal is with that, but it seems like there's some people that just don't trade on Tuesday and Thursday. Let's move that ZT down. ZT is doing a double distribution. That's kind of interesting. You can kind of see it in ZB too, but you can really see it in ZT. But we want to move this down because Bitcoin was getting sold crazy. Reload all historical data. It looks like the cumulative delta is worked. They sold it late yesterday, and I think that there could be another wave. So, you know, they might really hit it. Indicative votes. This is the other thing that really drives me crazy with the Brexit thing is why take an indicative vote? Like if the whole Brexit thing started with like a non-binding vote, it's like, you know, we're taking a vote so that if it goes our way, we can use that vote to okay, here's the numbers. Housing starts 1.16 versus an estimated 1.21, so not as good. Housing starts month over month, negative 8.7 versus an estimated negative 28.3, so that's good. Building permits, actual negative 1.6 versus an estimated 1.3, and building permits actual 1.296 versus an estimated 1.3. So it was bad. Market is reacting accordingly. I don't know. This could totally start trending upwards, but that is not a call that I think I could confidently make. Buying right there at 07 is just not make much sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So one of the problems that I'm seeing already is that it appears like that the number of market orders easily overwhelms the number of limit orders, regardless of what gets put anywhere. Zero hedge and yields slide in. Okay, we moved up 3 ticks, buddy. Relax. I am noticing, by the way, that the British pound is moving up again. So is the 6J. 6J is kind of moving up. The euro is not. What about well, let's see how. Okay, well, we came back. We moved up. We actually touched 3 ticks, but now we're back to the VWAP. I don't know. Like, I'm just looking at, well, like for instance, Zero Hedge talking about yield sliding. I feel like people are overexcited. Single family housing starts 805K, the lowest since May of 2017. We know that it's been bad. I'd expect that housing will continue to be bad throughout the year. Really? And they are up early. Got some 2 years, 188. We're gonna expand that. I think that's perfect. It's almost perfect. Well, let's do it like this first. So that we know we got that side good. And then expand it till we get that. There. Oh, I have the 2 year set up to be like the the volume profile. Show current trades. No, I don't want that. There we go. So far, we had a move up. It was a move back to the VWAP. We are now below the VWAP. And that volume that moved us back to the VWAP has, for the most part, unwound. So I think that news, at the moment, at least, kind of seems like not a huge deal. ECB's Makuch says risk of Eurozone recession very low as German economy resilient and some indicators are showing improvement. Oh, okay. Well, I'm finding this is going to be hard to trade because you're starting to get a lot of prints, large prints everywhere. See, 2,000 to make it tick up. How much to make it tick down? Probably at least 2,000. Okay, well, they're getting back into 06.5 now, too. The kids are up early today because my wife is working today. And man, they sure turn their iPads up loud, don't they? But I tell you what, after we get the yard done, and the first thing on the list is fixing those doors so that we got a little bit more quiet in here. Okay, 1421. Peter is messing in the 2-year, but looks like he's buying it. It's actually relatively quiet now. It's moving, but it's moving like all at once. Ooh, this is a tough call, because this one is not in a good spot because we're like in the middle of the range. We're like in the middle of the range, and yeah, it's not the best spot. There's this picture the alligator posted for Brexit that's like a baby at a crossroads, and there's like no deal is like off the clip, May's deal is like really scary steps, and second referendum is like a really sketchy looking rope bridge. I think that if they did another referendum, it would be a real disaster. And picking off, understand the Brexit date SI is now likely to be voted on tomorrow night with a meaningful vote, if it happens at all, set for Thursday. ABC and The Guardian, Trump trying to quote-unquote weaponize the Mueller report. Oh. I tell you what I saw on social media yesterday with the whole Mueller report is really something else. Because honestly, we've had a mass hysteria going on for 2 years now, where people believed that Donald Trump was a Russian agent or something to that effect. And this report pretty much demolishes that idea. And then Democrats came in and they saw that and they said, oh, we were wrong, and apologized for the last 2 years. Yeah, right. That's not what they did. Of course they didn't. Never underestimate people's ability, people's desire to stay in the bubble. When you're in a trade, man, and you're wrong, and you're in the bubble and you don't want to admit it, man, you just make up every excuse in your head to stay in it, don't you? And that's when I end up getting that -4. That's how that happens. Because I would prefer not to take a -4 trade. A -2 that happens, but -4 I don't like to have that. Yeah, I'm having a hard time reading this, Lucas. Yes, if I was having a hard time reading this as well. Yeah. The thing that I see is that I'm not seeing any kind of actual imbalances. Like, they trade 2,000, it ticks down. They trade 2,000, it ticks up. And it just kind of goes like that. And they don't seem to have any direction. Okay, now that was a little unusual. What was that? I don't see anything yet. I'm just gonna watch. When it's moving like that, though, that's not really good action for us. Because you saw that I want to pick something where it's not going to go more than 2 ticks against me. It just ticked up 2 or 3 ticks right there, all by itself. Somebody probably stopping out, and there's no like clear direction. Yep. That was crazy. But anyways, so Democrats were like, Barr is lying about what the report says. They're trying to weaponize it and all of these things. And it's just like, to me personally, insane. It's insane. Like, do you really think that with this report, everybody's paying attention to your Barr? You think that you're gonna fool the whole country, and you got all the people that wrote that report and did that investigation know what's in it, and Congress, of course, is going to demand to see it, and of course, it sounds like they are going to see it today, in fact. And he was telling people from the beginning that they were going to do everything to try and let them see it and to try and release it to the public. So why would you come out with a summary that was total bullshit, right? That would just be really, really dumb. That would be really, really dumb. So the chances that that's what's going on seems incredibly unlikely, and yet that's what they're running with. That's what they're running with today. It's just absolutely crazy to me. Yep, aren't Democrats making excuses now? They're totally making excuses. Well, let's be more specific about it. They are in denial. On the 6 stages of grief, they are still in the denial phase. And my fear is that they might be in the denial phase for a very, very long time. I would hope that after today's meeting that they will say, yeah, there is no obstruction. There is no. So one of the things that I'm seeing is that it was unfair for Barr to say, make it seem like there was no obstruction of justice, which I don't think is what he said. But they're saying that Mueller intended to punt to Congress. And it sounds like from the reports that one of the top investigator guys that was like a hardcore Hillary Democrat guy, he wanted to go for obstruction of justice, and Mueller decided not to. And I think from a legal standpoint, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe I should have been. I think I would have enjoyed being a lawyer, but oh my gosh. South Sudan and Qatar discussed oil exploration, increased output. What the hell is that? The U.S. acting defense secretary approves $1 billion in military funds for Trump's walls. That's not it. Something happened there. That was pretty wild. That was 6 ticks down. Out of nowhere, really. Much stronger on the short end of the curve, though. And I'm not seeing any correlated move in the E-mini. I do see that the Japanese yen moved down strongly. 5-minute warning for the red book. It looks like Adrian had a position and got stopped out of it. Well, if you had been short, and I was kind of leaning towards short. If you were short, that would have been a good one on you. But a move like that, I can't. You don't take a position off of a move like that. Like a bunch of people just stopped out. There's a good chance that it could move up. So we sit and wait. Anyways, the problem with the whole obstruction of justice thing is that they're saying that he obstructed justice by doing things that the president, it is within his right to do, I guess. And he could do them for any reason. And they're saying that he did it because he wanted to obstruct the investigation. But that's an awful lot of mind reading there. You'd have to have something to say that he intended it to obstruct the investigation. But then number two, it didn't actually obstruct the investigation. So, and Mueller can't prosecute that, right? That has to go to Congress. You really think that Congress is going to get through and get a conviction with that underlying argument, especially after the report comes out and it shows that there was no collusion? You know what I mean? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So it is just another layer of denial, because even if what they wanted to have happened, it wouldn't be going anywhere. We'd be in the same situation. So it's crazy. I don't see any news coming through. In fact, the squawks haven't said anything for 5 minutes. So that is just like some really big fish just pushing their weight around. This is like you're swimming in the ocean and you see two sharks fighting on the surface. And, they're thrashing back and forth. You're the little fish. Do you go and get in the middle of that? I stay out. Or, imagine you're on the trading floor and there's two big traders and they're moving it. He's taking out a bunch of guys. And then the other guy, he takes it the other way and he takes out a bunch of guys. And it goes back and forth like that. Do you come in and say, oh, yes, I want to get involved in this? Nah, I think you sit on the edge of the pit and watch them duke it out. And so you can tell your friends later that day. And maybe there's a fist fight later. One minute warning for the red book. I want to move my desk there we go. we moved all like that push down caused a new low, and that push up pushes back up to the top of that range. I would say that like the lows and highs and all of that probably favor the short, but you know, that's not going to be enough of an edge to predict this. Nothing like a good bidding war, says Bill 777. I agree. I mean, I would rather have just, you know, a strong unstoppable trend, but if it's going to be choppy action and we don't know which way to take it, it might as well be something that's entertaining to watch while it's doing it, right? Liquidity seems a bit lower in ZB by an average of like 1,500 to 2,000 contracts on either side. Yeah, I noticed that as well. I don't know if it's 1,500, but like yesterday when we were ticking up, they were leaving 6,000 behind them, huh? And today, most of the prices are 4,500. There's a few outliers. There's a 55 at 07.5. There's a almost 6 at 11. Via Twitter, the seller of Green July call spread selling 75K at 4.5. New position. Looks to be a speculative short taking advantage of elevated futures and volatility levels. I only have 10 levels of depth. Oh, I'm going off my totals a little. Well, I do have more depth, but I'm only just talking about the prices right around us, right? 4,500 at most levels. Now the thing is that it's like a normal day. Do you know what I mean? That's like a normal day. But yesterday was not a normal day, and I think that there's still a lot of people watching this market wanting to know how it resolves, you know? And so it to me is surprising that it's average again. But I think that my take on that, put this over here. My take on what we do about that is that we just had a strong trend, and it's calming down. It's like doing mean reversion. So this is a market that's going to be trying to find balance. It's not balanced yet. Obviously, somebody's still doing stuff here, so it's not balanced. And I don't know if balance is there at 04.5, where there's lots of volume there, or if it's a little bit lower, you know, could be a little bit lower. Like the 124.005 was a price that a lot of volume traded at that we could maybe come back to. Okay, so got 1 minute warning for more data. We're looking at the home price year over year and month over month. Home price index and Case-Shiller, the HPI. Euro traded lower too. I think that some of that move down was correlated with the Japanese yen. And the euro is moving down too. Euro is really moving down. Okay, so housing price index, positive spot 1% versus an expected spot 3 and a previous of spot 2. House price index year over year, 3.6 versus expected 4 spot 3. And the housing price index month over month, spot 6 versus an expected spot 3. And the Case-Shiller 20 city house price index, 3.58% versus 3.8% year over year expected. Okay, so the data is through. They did not really react, although we did tick down. This is still not necessarily a great spot, I have to say. This is really like right in the middle of this range. Maybe if we had been fast and sold it right there on the news at 06, then maybe. What does your FP mean by reversal bar? Oh, what does bots? What does your FP mean by reversal bars? Yeah, that's his. Have to see where he posted something much earlier. Sell-side pressure generated several unfinished auctions since the European Open. So they're getting smashed down, and the buyers don't really want to give up, but they're being forced to because they're selling it. China is said to import cattle, hogs, feed, soybeans from the U.S. from April. This is from Red Blocks Global on Twitter. Being retweeted by First Squawk, but I don't know who they are. McDonald's just made one of the biggest acquisitions ever, says StockTwits. I didn't know that I still followed them. I remember back in the day when I first started trading, and I would post on StockTwits. I don't think I even have access to that account anymore. I forgot what email I signed it up under. Well, the E-mini appears to be catching a little bit of a bid. I think Yeah. I ate a banana today, and I don't know, my stomach doesn't seem to be liking it. The 30 year is trying to tick up. The other two are not, and they're not really very well aligned here at all, are they? Overall, this still looks like a icky spot for treasuries. Sky News says DUP prefer long Brexit delay to the Prime Minister's deal. Yeah, but wasn't that pretty much shot down by the European Union? U.S. home price growth slowest since 2012. Okay. That's a little bit better of a statistic, isn't it? Okay. DUP says is prepared for a long extension to the Brexit process. Okay, so now we're back into a place where you could maybe short it, but they didn't make it as far previously. Morning. Oh, he misspelled it. He said morning. Nate Silver. If the Mueller report, is good for Trump, i.e., closely matches Barr's analysis of it, Republicans could decide to troll Democrats by acting reluctant to release it and working them into a lather, and then releasing it and saying, see what all the fuss was about? Yep. Well, this just goes back to my argument here that if the Mueller report was significantly different from what Barr reported in his summary, then Barr is really dumb. He is really dumb, for real. Because what would make you think that you would get away with something like that? So that just automatically, I think, pretty much rules out that particular theory. Now, maybe Barr has his own personal bias and his own reading is a little bit more biased than well, not more biased than somebody else's, but he has a biased reading, and maybe the Democrats with their biased reading might be different. Okay, so Ace is going short, 28.1975. I went long at 28.20. So this will be interesting because we've picked the same spot, but we're opposites of each other, and this is the first time that this has happened. I'm going to guess, because I'm so awful at trading the E-mini, that Ace is going to be right. But I'm not going to flip it around because, we want to get my stats on what my spot is. You're only 3 ticks stop on this. That's interesting. 3 ticks is really close, but it is pre-market. Well, I'll tell you, the reason why I took it is because I saw there was this little bump of buying here, and I expected us to come back and come back to, you know, the previous volume locus from before. And so my theory was that we won't be able to get below this step in the profile here. That we'll get a higher high and then, you know, potentially take off. And then also, because I think that on the profile, by the way, am I showing the right? Yeah, I am. If I go back over here to the charts though, I think that the E-mini is going to retest this 28 area. So let's see. Oh, I guess I should add the ACES so you didn't feel strongly. Okay, so what does he say? The reason I took it is because I am bored and wanted to be a trade ace. We're just gonna pretend that you're just trolling, right? Because he knows as well as anybody that that's an awful reason to be in a trade. Okay, well, so it's gone down 3 ticks against me. So I suppose that that's a spot that, like, the thing is I wasn't sure about that particular location. Looking at it now in retrospect, I think I should have tried, you know, just a little bit past the step. Although I still think if they stop me out, then I'm just wrong. Well, okay, now they're super likely to stop me out, huh? Okay, well, they moved down a little bit and they stopped. I'd still have to say, though, that that's not a very good looking move there. Okay, Treasuries ticked up there. Now they're really high. Now they are at the high. Okay. I think that I could short the Treasury right there at 06.5. Yeah. But since I have this one, I don't want to watch both of them, so I'm going to hold it. Ooh. Ooh. Ace got his point and got out. Oh my gosh. My, oh my. Well, I could have taken a point right there. But the way that that reacted on the upside tells me that I should stay in. And cumulative delta actually went higher there. There was some stops. You get a little bit of a pullback. Treasuries ticked significantly there too. I don't want to mess myself. I can't manage 2 trades at the same time. Like, what if this one goes and then the trade falls apart and I want to get out of them, and I could take a profit on both of them, but you know, like, you can't watch them both. But I do think that if I hadn't have taken this one in the E-mini, I could potentially be stocking short for a tick or two at least in Treasuries. But let's see. It's still not, you know, done for, right? I got 1 point out of it. I guess I should just note, though, that it was at 06.5. right there. It was 6.5, and you would have gotten filled. 34.42 was straight there. You would have gotten filled. Okay. So now you would be super happy with that downtick in the ZN. Where was that big bid? I didn't see that. They sure sold that though. That was 1,000. So fairly big sell there in ZB. Yeah, that's stepping up to the plate quite nicely. Pentagon approves 1 billion. That story's getting around. Okay, so there's 2 ticks, and it's even again. If I was taking it, I think that I would probably want to have my target at 0.4 at least. Okay, I mean, he's going for it. Thank you. I don't know. I think there was a lot of luck involved in that still. The problem that I'm having, if you go back and you look at the E-mini trades that I've made, I'm just having a really hard time finding a spot that is 8 ticks that holds. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because, you know what, those have been trades after the open, and it's just unrealistic to expect an 8 tick stop to hold during the regular session in ES, but it's like it gets stopped out literally every time, and then it will go in my direction. Well, I'm still seeing like stops on the upside and like excitement when they push new highs and stuff, so I think I can still keep it. And the treasuries seem to be going my way, although if I had taken that short at 0.6 I would maybe have to be thinking about taking it off of 0.5 and just taking the +2. Because that one is still just crappy range bound. Yeah. Oh, what's all this? Yeah, see, comes back and then it ticks back up to it quite nicely. Could totally just fall apart on me, but well, I think that it's probably best to at least move that up a little bit. Yeah, so ZN did tick up. So even though I was kind of right on that, it's not really the best action. So that one in ZN, I think, was just recognizing that we were at the extreme of the range and getting a little bit of noise. It might not actually be telling us anything more than that. So I had one other thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys. What did you guys watch the Apple thing yesterday? Because my understanding is that Apple has announced a streaming service. I mean, they always had the Apple TV, and you could get video and watch movies through it. But now they want to make it a subscription service, and the way that it works is like you subscribe to that for, I don't know how much it is. Maybe it's like you subscribe to that for $15 a month, and then there's little add-ons like you can get HBO and Showtime, and and you add all of these for $5 or whatever it is, and it's like a subscription service that manages subscriptions. Which I think is a good idea, because I think the problem that we're having right now is that everybody wants to have their own subscription service now, and on-demand subscription service, and ain't nobody gonna buy all those. I'm not gonna do, like if I want to watch Star Trek, too bad. Like I get Netflix, so you put it on Netflix, they're not gonna do it, right? Well, I felt like that this Apple thing is a good idea, because then you could kind of just pick and choose. And maybe you're willing to spend like $50 a month on television or something like that, if you're really into that sort of a thing. And I think that Apple's customers are. I think it would be a good deal for them. And this was exactly how I thought that such a service should work. But Wall Street did not like it. Apple was down big time yesterday. They were not impressed. They didn't think that it was going to bring in a lot of business. So that anytime that the market's reaction is significantly different to mine, then I have to sit back and say, okay, well, was I wrong? Am I wrong? Or is the market wrong? If the market's wrong, then there's a trading opportunity there, right? Maybe let's watch Apple for the next few days and see how much they come back. I think that you might get a good chance to buy it there, because I kind of like what they're doing. I suspect that 6 months from now, that Apple is going to add something to the subscription service that's really nice, and my wife is going to be like, I want to watch this show, so let's do this. And I'm going to not want to do it. but if my wife is doing it, you bet there's probably a lot of people that are doing it, She doesn't like, she watches, man. My wife has the most boring hobby. This is an awful way to start out a thing. So she does like these little it's like you get a sheet of paper that's like a giant sticker, and it has a grid printed on it with numbers, and then you put the correct colored bead or perler thing on the spot, and you make like these pixel art pictures. And most of the pixel art pictures that you can buy online are like really awful. Like they just took a picture and then rasterized it down to that resolution. And so, and they don't, they don't dither it very well or anything like that. So it's really hard to actually see what it is a lot of the time. Some of them are okay, but some of them are like, that doesn't look anything like what that's supposed to. As he says, his neighbor is into that. Yeah. I was like, we just need to get your own, and we'll print the thing on it ourselves. Like there's got to be something like sticky paper that you can buy and put it in the printer, and we can print it ourselves and make the picture ourselves. I think that would work a lot better. But anyways, and so then she watches television while she's doing it, and she doesn't really have anything that like she's super into. She just like randomly pick something, and most of the stuff that I see when I walk in is like, this seems like a really dumb show. Why are you watching this show? Oh, and she also likes to watch the what is it, botched surgeries or whatever. There's like a series about botched series. So I'll come home, it's like crocheting for millennials, right? So I'll come home and her and the kids are watching like somebody's nose get operated on. Like they actually have them like the open wound and like the skin pulled back and they're operating on it. And I'm like, no, why are you watching this? Don't watch this. And with the kids too. That's. But I guess that's okay because my stepson keeps telling us that he's going to cure cancer. So if you're going to cure cancer, you might maybe end up being a surgeon. You know, good thing that you're not squeamish. Okay, so I'm noticing that it's 5 minutes now before the open, and the E-mini has, like, the liquidity in the E-mini has changed. That's like people who watch the pimple poppers. Oh, don't remind me of that, dude. Oh, man. I know what you're talking about. Well, it's usually not pimple popping. It's like there's way more extreme stuff. You know, it's like that Coliseum syndrome. It's just like when people, they get really into porn and they have to watch more and more depraved porn. It's the same thing with pimple popping, right? They have to watch more and more depraved, bigger, more disgusting pimples getting popped. It's not good for you. It's not good for you. So I can get 1-to-1. If I have an 8-tick stop, I seem to be able to get... Sorry, if I have an 8-tick stop, I'm able to get 8 ticks. But am I able to get the 16? Oh, John finally comes back and answers. I plotted a 3-tick reversal bar for the footprint. Yes. His footprint's like when it makes a new bar in the footprint, it has to be a 3-tick reversal. So you get really nice looking footprints. It's actually... It's a good way of doing it if you want to do those. You should look into it. I mean, I still see buying into this. That's the thing. Like, it came back a little bit, but now they've pushed up and they equaled the high, I think. I think it was equaled at least. And cumulative delta is actually a little bit higher. So now, when they open, are they going to buy it on the open? I think you might see something like that. Either that or it might be a slow open. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and the European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker in Paris Tuesday. Okay. Oxycontin maker reaches a $270 million settlement with Oklahoma over claims it helped fuel the opioid crisis. Wow, that's a big settlement. House Whip James Clyburn. I can't believe that the Mueller report has been done. That's a chapter that's closed. And I think that last night this administration opened a new chapter when it moved to completely invalidate the Affordable Care Act. Oh yeah, that was a he has a good point there, my friends. Do you see this? Let me see if I can find it so I can read this to you guys, because I think this is a big deal. Yes, here it is. The Department of Justice on Monday announced that it is siding with the district court ruling that found the Affordable Care Act unconstitutional. Come on, go up. Do it. Do it. Back and forth, back and forth. Does seem like overall buyers have the advantage, but they sure aren't. Okay. Woohoo! Yay! I can breathe easy now. Okay, reading again. The move is an escalation of Trump's administration battle against the healthcare law. The Department of Justice previously argued in court that the law's pre-existing condition protections should be struck down. Now the administration argues the entire law should be invalidated. The U.S. District Court Judge Reed O'Connor ruled in December that the Affordable Care Act's individual mandate is unconstitutional and that the rest of the law is therefore invalid. So this actually kind of bothers me a little bit. By the way, Treasury's down too. I like it. I like it. I think I made a good trade. The thing is with the E-mini, I'm still like experimenting and everything, and I want to keep my stats good, but obviously I could have held that one, huh? Anyways, what do you set your vista interval and width to? Good question. So I set the interval, it's a little bit different in different instruments. I think it's 30 in all of these ones, and then it's, what is it in the E-mini? It's 30 in the E-mini too. And then I have the interval width. I have it set to 2 over here in Treasuries. Or sorry, in the E-mini. If I, if I made it bigger here, then you get more bars like the other ones, right? I actually kind of like that. Maybe I'll keep it like that. Let's just see. And I think that these ones are 4. Yeah, these ones are 4. So you get nice, pretty bars. So let me pull up my position window here. Unhide equities trades. Okay, so I bought it at 28.20. And I wanted 16 ticks, so I got it at 24. Okay. So there was at least 2 more points, 2 more handles beyond that. I was saying I expect them to test this 28 area. So here now taking a new high. Oh, well, we're well beyond a new high, I guess. Oh. Okay. So that was a mistake, I think. My profit target was just a little bit beyond the overnight range. So maybe I should have maybe I really should have changed it. Anyways. Yeah, just curious. I wanted to make it easier on the eye, and I settled at 30 seconds and 2 wide as well. Yes? Oh, that's gross. She just showed me a picture of a cartoon character throwing up. It was like a computer animated cartoon. Hey, 2s. So what's the 2-year doing? Oh, the 2-year's still kind of coming down. Well, the E-mini bought up very nicely, I think. Treasuries? How did I spell that? How do you spell? Treasuries, there we go. Thank you. What about spreads? What are they seeing in spreads? Need to read that later. Also, something kind of saying that the market is going to sell and that it's going to force the Federal Reserve to ease by 5 basis points, 50 basis points. So interesting that ZB is at the top of its range and ZN is not. It looks like you're getting some real flattening going on here. If ES goes on there, should be a bit of steepening long end, and that should break this range. Okay, well, there's a lot of bubbles in here, but they're still pushing. I think maybe, if I had taken that, 28 would have been a good target. If I decided to let that go, Move it up to 28 and have it sit and, move my stop up to, every point. Okay, so there's an iceberg there at 05. And there's quite a bit of volume trading here in the 5-year. So they're at they're like breaking out of the bottom of this range and fighting it. There was a lot on offer there, and they just got pushed up, and is that somebody maybe getting stopped out? So there was the 3,300. Okay, so there's 28.29. Boom. Cool. All right, so they're through it. It's hard in the E-mini for me to say like a price has been defeated and we can move higher. We're gonna have a breakout. That to me was not breakout kind of momentum. they kind of traded it and now they're coming back a little bit. Maybe they could get another push or two and then we could maybe see some like breakout kind of behavior. You know what? I think I like it better with like that because the cumulative delta looks better. Well, earlier I was kind of thinking, you know, if you could get it at 06, 06 half, we could go short. That's where we were short before. But this thing that's happened here at 05 now is, yeah. Now, I didn't see stuff like added up here. I didn't really see anything added on the NOM except for maybe a little bit taken off in the 5-year. And by the way, the 2-year did not come back at all. So I think I would still prefer a short, but it's making me it's a little sketch. This to me still looks like poor action. Let's not say poor action, but difficult action. It's still moving. Okay, well, there's 2830. Problem I'm seeing right now is if I want to get short, well, there's their down tick, so it's probably too late. I was going to say, if you want to get short, you probably might not get better than 05 half. Like, a guy's got stopped out there, and then, like, that's as far as it goes. Now they're back down. Look, they took those 2 ticks pretty easily, too. I don't think I want to take any as she goes trades today, but you know, that was a good down 2 ticks. The other thing is we're still above the open. Like we opened at 03 half, right? We spent this whole time above that. And to be between the open and the view up is not necessarily the best place. 28.32. It looks strong. So now maybe they want to go for single prints, would be like 28.55. Well, I had a good call on the E-mini. I guess the question is just, in general, is it better for me to just get my 16 ticks or whatever? Or do I want to try and swing it and wait for it to go off and take it off at 28.28? And then if I do get that, do I want to hold it and see if it breaks that and goes through, you know? But I suppose I could move my stop up. Binance or nah? I don't know. I don't really have experience with them. Obviously, you know, there's Coinbase's in the US. Coinbase is really the best place to do stuff. And they've added so many coins now, I'm not sure there's really a need for other exchanges. I was always a fan of Bittrex. I liked Bittrex had a nice interface. Oh, and KU Coin. KU Coin is great. I don't know. By the way, how is our cryptos doing since we've had the 2-year hiding it? Well, they're holding, but it still doesn't look too positive. U.S. takes action related to Iran sanctions. What are you trading? So, I'm trading Treasury futures. Right. So this right here, the big dom, the one that's the widest, is 10-year Treasuries, ZN. The one that I took a trade in over here, the ES, is S&P 500 futures. There's going to be micro futures, so I'm practicing on sim here to see if it's worth taking trades in the micro futures. Ooh, uptick. So there they went and they made a new low. Well, not a new low, but a lower swing low in ZN. And then they swing back up to 0.5. And by the way, through all of this, essentially, while we've been holding tight, the euro and the Japanese yen both took a step lower. How is that? I need to make sure I understand the currencies here. Exchange futures. Japanese yen, JPY, USD. So that's like buying the Japanese yen, right? If you buy 6J, it's like you're buying yen. Okay, so the E-mini took a little bit of a top there. Yes, sir. Maybe you could take a short. And Treasuries right back up here again. So choppy. And they never quite got to the low of the day. Or not the low of the day, the regular session open. They never got over the regular session open. So I don't think that speaks very well to the potential short in Treasuries. In fact, I'm noticing that now that the E-mini has topped a little bit, and I'm not saying that that's the high of the day or anything, but it's taking a step back and it's maybe doing a really nasty head and shoulders or something like that's actually it looks kind of scary. Yes, looks a little scary to me. Could we maybe go short here? The question is, where could we go short? We could go, maybe it would be at 28, 29, 30, somewhere around here. We're gonna see something where it overextends. Okay, so maybe 28, 30. Let's just say right there. How come I can't? There's something wrong with my alert column. Oh, I see. Okay. Let's do it like that. Let's just say. I'm not confident enough to take it, but I want to see, is that the right spot? You're maybe having a potential head and shoulders pattern here. So if that was it, then this would be the stop. I'm also wondering, this one I'm going to have to put something in to test it, but I'm also wondering if you get hit there, if you just stop into it. Let's clear trades up too. Oops, wrong one. Just so that we can see that it didn't hit our stop. Although, so far, I'm not seeing accelerating sell volume. So this whole thing might be a trap. Yeah. By the way, why is this? When they got up there, ZB really got hit. So now we're at the top of the range again in ZN. I'm going to remove this because I don't want to worry about that. I think I want to take something here and see, and let's see what happens. Oh, we've got Richmond Fed in 3 minutes. So for consumer confidence, we're looking for a reading of 132.1, and in the Richmond Manufacturing Index, we're looking for a reading of 12 versus a previous reading of 16. $6J looks like it could be at a reversal on bounce point. It's selling hard. I wonder what it could mean. Okay, so there is your stop. So that one would not have worked out. But I think we were saying, you're not getting accelerating sell volume, so the head and shoulders pattern itself didn't even. Is unconfirming. Excuse me. Okay, so they are pulling on this. Okay, actual 10 versus 12 for the Richmond Fed. So worse than expected. We're still waiting on the consumer confidence number. Liquidity hasn't come back yet. Well, I don't think that reading is a huge surprise. Okay. So they're moving here. They must have just gotten the consumer confidence. Must be bad. 124 versus an expected 132. So the robots definitely bought. They are now at the opening range high. So I'm tempted to sell it here, but then there's an iceberg. Fill that guy up top. Which one are you talking? You talking about that guy at 11? Well, even though I'm kind of more interested in the short just because of where we're at, I'm kind of looking at it. I think the probability is actually maybe more likely to be up. DUP says a 1-year extension is better than Theresa May's withdrawal plan to leave the EU. Sammy Wilson writes for The Telegraph. See, they can't seem to get beyond the opening range. Very odd, in my opinion. Smash the Bid says yep, but I'm not sure. Was he saying that it's probably agreeing with me that it's probably more likely to move up? Man, they're really having trouble with that price. There you go. An okay stack and a couple of orders hitting into OE halves. So the E-mini is actually still pushing up. So this is starting to get really odd. Equities or treasuries are pushing up, especially the shorter dated ones. So we're getting a little bit of steepening here, right? The bids are building up reasonably well, but equities not buying it. Oh, I agreed with you with the guy at 11. Yeah. I mean, the thing is those ones that have been there like for forever. It's, I'd say it's pretty random whether we get there or not, but they're starting to add some at a little bit above that too, at 15. So that's interesting. I think that when we got that news and we had that spike up, that was kind of like, can't really sell it anymore unless I saw like a real topping pattern, which I didn't really see it. And they did break out of the range. And they are adding additional targets. So I don't know if I take a trade, but I think that if I did take a trade, it would have to be a long. But let's just kind of sit here and watch. Oh, it's me. Lucas says it's him. There you go. Okay. Well, if it's you, why don't you just cancel that order? Maybe we get a little bit of a sell in the market. Okay. So 0.5 was all they're going to give us, huh? We got the staples rallying today, got alerts on McDonald's and KD getting bids. That's not a good sign. Well, treasuries are buying in. Yeah, I think it is. So a little bit. I took a little bit too popular of a price there at 28.30, didn't I? But look at the way that it's ticking there at 09. Like they're buying it at 09 pretty aggressively, I would say. Oh, Richmond Fed was a pretty big miss too, 10 versus 16. Okay. So I think that I'm going to get filled down here at the bottom. It's kind of the same thing. Like this is right where the edge, the cliff's edge is, I guess you could say. That's a lot of iceberging at 09. Okay. So I think I feel like I really like my risk reward here and everything. I don't know about probability though. The spot might not necessarily be the best either. Maybe could have done a little better. The numbers gave CP the juice it needed to break out through 148.28. Oh yeah, it did. See, the sell looks good, but it's just not. It's not like going all at once like I thought maybe it could. Kind of begs the question: why is it that treasuries are so uppity, but equities are not? Is it because equities is being propped up by foreign investors and they don't care? Hmm. Okay, so I just saw one of those. I forget what we call them. Kind of pulled the rug out from underneath of them against the trend. I'm not sure what they mean in ES, but when I see that in ZN, that can be a continuation trade. If we're having strong trending action and you see it, that can be a continuation trade. Well, price still holds in ES. In fact, they seemed to like that right there. They're still buying it. 09 hasn't gone offered yet. Well, if sellers were really in control here and they were going to push it down, I don't think that the E-mini would have been able to do that. But it doesn't look to me like that buyers have won out yet either. It's still kind of rangy, I guess. But this whole thing is just a little sketchy to me because really, treasuries are up a lot and equities have held. I mean, treasuries are a good 4 to 6 ticks higher than they were before the news. Equities, for whatever reason, are holding. I'm getting close to when I gotta think about cutting it off because I gotta take the kids into school. Okay, that was a little bit more. So here's the sellers having trouble making progress below 28.29 a few times now. Actually, it's really more down at like 27. You can see, but since they tried those highs, they're trying a little harder this time, I think. That 09 still has a strong bid underneath of it. They might just take their time, but the treasuries still seem to indicate that they're going to sell it. That they're going to sell the equities. Asked about how the Irish border will be managed in the event of a no deal, Taoiseach Lee Varkardar says, I have no clue how you say that, tells the Dáil the truth is nobody can say for sure, but we will hold the British government to its commitments. Okay. Okay, so that time again, they didn't quite go. I've seen this one before where you buy the treasuries expecting the E-mini to fall apart and then it never happens. And you don't make anything. Okay, so that time they ticked down and '09 went off, or equities trading back and forth a little bit more, but towards the high end of the range. Okay. Whoa. I still bought it up at '09. There's guys on both sides of this now. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure what to make of that action there at '09. Whoever wins is probably going to make money, though. And it's starting to look like a couple of robots just trading back and forth. And when they come up here, they sell '09, and when they come down here, they buy '09. Hmm. Okay, well, how long have I been in this? 13 minutes. Okay, you're getting a little bit more selling. Yes, not decided yet. Okay. They're taking them out slowly but surely here now. That sell. So I want to see it come down and go and take out that low and that price and everything, but it was coming back and I've got to go soon, and so I think I gotta just wait. 2-year auction today. Oh, I did not know. See it come back almost all the way to my price. What about you guys? Okay, well, let's generate the charts. The Bitcoin charts. Man, I have to say that selling in Bitcoin doesn't look good to me. Oh, look, now it's going. Suppose you could go in and you could say, oh, I got 50, and then let it come back up and take it again and again and again and again. But then what's going to happen is you're going to take it off one of these times, and then it's going to go all the way through, and you're like, oops, I could have gotten 32 ticks on that one. Oh, well. That's exactly how I say it when I do it too, isn't it? I would like to see the Bitcoin Cash come down with all this stuff, and you could maybe buy it. It seems to be holding pretty good at a decently valued level. Although I think that sell that we got after the fork was probably... I don't know if we're ever going to go below that or not. Right now, I'm thinking, gee, I sure wish I had bought that price. Ethereum looks overbought. I don't know. That indicator hasn't been too indicative for Ethereum, but it looks like it's ready to sell. And Verge still dead as a doornail. Okay, typing. Okay, well, if you had bought at 09, you would be down a tick. And the E-mini never really went. And so if I was looking for my 2826, would not have gotten it. So I think that taking the profit maybe wasn't the best spot to take it, but it was okay. I really think that the trade was to have bought at when it was at 04. You really could have taken that one and expected it to go to the range and then said, oh, okay, let's see what the news does, and scratched it or taken a profit. But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it was better that I just didn't take any E-mini trades. Or sorry, that I didn't take any treasury trades. But the two that I took in the E-mini were great. I don't think that it makes up for the terrible trades that I've made in the E-mini, but it's a start. So yeah. All right, well, I've got to head out. I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We might have a little bit better action. So in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.